Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Nikki Davis with Lifestyle Telemedicine, and I am so excited to welcome Dr. Trisha Schimek. And I don't even know if I'm saying your last name right, because I always just
You
say
are,
Trisha.
yes, right on. Schimek.
Okay, good. So Dr. Schimek, we wanted to sit and talk with you today because you are one of our newest doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine. So this is a way for us to introduce you to the people who know lifestyle telemedicine, and we want them to get to know you a little bit better because we have several doctors that work with us at Lifestyle Telemedicine. And when you go to our website, you'll see a big list of us, and it's kind of nice to get an idea of who all of us are so that you can make a choice on who your doctor is going to be. And of course, it does depend on what states we're licensed in. So that's always something that as you go to the website, it'll ask you that right away. But yeah, so this is exactly what we want to do today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dr. Schimek first, and then we will get into it. So, Dr. Schimek is a physician with over a decade of experience in family medicine. She earned her medical degree from Jefferson Medical College and holds advanced degrees from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine at Tulane University, where she also completed her undergraduate studies in neuroscience and Spanish. Originally board certified in family medicine, her professional journey was shaped by a lifelong passion for root cause care. Recognizing the profound impact of lifestyle on helping individuals lead healthier, longer lives and effectively manage or even reverse chronic conditions through sustainable habit change. You can see why she was such a good fit for us. This aligned naturally with how she already cared for patients, and she embraced a whole food, plant-forward diet, regular movement, restorative sleep, and mindfulness as both personal and professional pillars. She is now board certified in lifestyle medicine as well. She lives in California with her husband and 2 kids. So welcome, Dr. Schimek.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here, and get a chance to know your audience too. So I hope, yeah, hopefully we'll get some questions later.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. So we're going to learn a little bit about you today, and then if we've got some time, we might open it up for a little Q&A. So if you've got some questions for the doctors, today is your day. And first of all, why don't we find out where people are watching from? So we'd love to hear wherever. So it doesn't matter where you're watching from, if you're on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, go ahead and type in the chat where you're watching from. So like I'm in Salt Lake City. Dr. Schimek, where are you located?
Yeah, I'm in Martinez, California, which is in the Bay Area. But I personally love this question because I have lived all over the place. I grew up in Minnesota, born and raised there, and then yeah, since college have just been traveling all over, right? Like when you are a physician, you're doing all of this training. And so I've lived in New Orleans and Philadelphia. I have lived in Wisconsin, New Mexico. Have lived internationally in Mexico, but for the past 9 years have made California my home.
Wow, yeah, you've been all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the reason I even got involved with and know about you all is because of Dr. Jeff Pierce. And what's really fun is Dr. Jeff Pierce and I met, oh gosh, now more than a decade ago, because he and I have similar paths in global health as well. And he was the one who even like told me about this global health fellowship that I did. And now that we also have similarities in lifestyle medicine.
Oh, that's so great. I mean, that's just kismet, right? That you guys were able to meet up and then have this be something that you get to do in the future. We've got our co-founder of Lifestyle Telemedicine, Anthony Masiello, watching. So thank you for watching, Anthony. Love to see you on here. We've got somebody watching from Michigan, North Carolina. So we've got people from all over the place watching. I love it. All right. And let's see here. Perfect. Okay, so why don't we start out with just hearing a little bit about your background. So, I am always curious how people got into medicine. Like what was your, what kind of got you to being interested in medicine in general? before even kind of finding this lifestyle medicine path?
Yeah. I came into medicine because I knew in medicine I could help people. So it made like this practical, like the practicality of like caring and wanting to do good to people, but and making that a career. And then I've always been interested in science. I was a neuroscience major. Like I'm really like I went into college being like, let's figure out the brain. Like what is going on in there? And I was an EMT during college and was really like applying what I was learning and helping people like in acute crisis, right? And I actually was like, well, if I do EMT, like maybe I want to be an emergency medicine physician. But then I quickly realized that actually I really care about relationships with people. And so when I went to medical school, like all the people I looked up to were the family medicine doctors who got to take care of patients for years on end. And I thought that that was so special. Uh, like I especially love like watching people like make changes. And I think what we do, especially in family and lifestyle medicine, is like sometimes we see people in like a really rough patch and like they are really vulnerable with us. And but some of the joy that we get to then see them later when they like have improved. And there's so many times like when I'm with a patient and they're going through their like darkest, like deepest, you know, time that I really wish I could like join them up with some of my other patients to like help them see that like we're gonna get through this. And so yeah, family medicine just made so much sense for me because of the relationship aspect. And then of course I was interested in everything, right? Like I went through all of my medical school rotations and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I love delivering babies. Oh, surgery is kind of cool. Like I like procedures. And so family medicine kind of wrapped that all up. But then it was lifestyle medicine really made sense to me. I was actually doing a fellowship in leadership and well-being and had met some physicians who are lifestyle medicine certified and realized I was like, oh, this is like how I talk to patients. Like I don't want to just give a medication. Like I want to understand like why someone develops a certain like illness or symptom, and like let's get to the root cause and can we like reverse this if possible?
Yeah, wow. So, okay, so that's really actually fascinating that you met some lifestyle medicine doctors while you were in training, because that's something that I didn't get to do. I had to kind of seek that out on my own and kind of find it online, really. It wasn't really something that I was aware of, really. I was interested in the idea of what lifestyle medicine is, but wasn't aware that it really existed. So that's really uh, great that you had access to that and got to learn about it.
Yeah, and what's really cool now is how it's like expanding and people are learning about this earlier and earlier. Like Dr. Clapper, right? How he's like bringing this to medical students because we need to be hitting and educating our like healthcare workforce like a lot earlier. That yeah, that we like have all of these tools and we can really help patients.
Yeah. Yeah, because all of us, I mean, I think that you could probably ask at anyone who's interested in going into medicine why they want to do it, and it's to help people
Yeah.
ultimately. And if that's truly what we want to do, then shouldn't we try to help people get to the root cause of what's causing their illness in the first place and not just rely on the bandages, to really help people live their best lives. It's frustrating when you hear, I mean, I don't know if you hear this with your patients, but I do sometimes hear this with mine that, they will often, once they find out about living a healthy lifestyle and how eating a plant-based diet can help reverse chronic disease, they will make those changes, improve things, get off medications, and then they'll meet with their doctor and they'll say, you know, this is what I've been doing. Why is this not something that you've told me about? Why don't you know about it? And a lot of times we hear, well, most people don't want to change. Most people just want the medication. right? And
Yeah.
so there's this kind of like idea that people really don't want to know and really don't care. And I just don't think that that's accurate.
I don't think it's accurate either. I mean, I'm thinking about this from like a health equity lens. So I have worked for 14 years in underserved medicine, worked at like FQHCs, I've worked at the Indian Health Service, I've worked in county medicine, and it really like angers me, and I think it's because it goes against my values that people are like they think that if you don't have resources, that you don't have the like ability or the want to change, and so like why would we give this education, like why don't we just like give the medication? And I have lots and lots of stories to show you that that's not the truth, and people are actually really thankful for receiving the information of like, yeah, I've never cooked with tofu before, but I might be willing to try, or saying that someone can't do it because of XYZ circumstance. And I want to bring like hope and belief that yeah, circumstances exist, but we can like work within and around those circumstances. And I think for what you were saying too about this idea that like, I know we need a little mindset shift in medicine too about whether or not like thinking our patient can or can't do something, like that is for my patient to decide. It should never be my decision to decide whether or not what's possible for my patient. Like, can I give them the like tools so that they can carry it out? Um, I was thinking about that with, I went actually to my own personal physician who I met for the first time. And I was asking him to check like my vitamin B12. I eat a mainly plant forward diet, and I wanted to just make sure that my supplementation was good. And he was like, we probably spent 10 minutes. He was like, oh, so you eat this way? And you're like, yes. And he was like trying to find a diagnostic code, right? He was like, did you eat this way because you were feeling tired? I was like, no. Were you eating this way? And I was like, no, because like I don't want to develop disease later on. Like this is the reason I'm doing that. And he was trying to add it to like a diagnostic code in order to, and,
Interesting.
this is what's wrong. And then he also brought up that he like worked at a hospital in Illinois. And he was like, have you heard of this guy, Dean Ornish? And I was like, I have. And he's like, he came and he was telling everyone to like eat plants. And, I know that that is probably a good thing. And I know that that's probably could be good, but isn't that hard? And I felt like we were like role reversal. I was like needing to educate my PCP. But I was like just coming to like, be the patient a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what a great question to ask is, for him to say, well, isn't that hard? Because I do think that that's probably where, even though it sounds like he had some education and was exposed to some of the research that's out there that shows that a plant-based diet can help reverse and treat chronic lifestyle related disease, that his sticking point might have been it's too hard for people to do, because I can't imagine doing it. But really, for any of us who've been through the process, it really is, you've got to jump in. And now, I mean, nowadays you've got the support everywhere. You could find a
Yeah.
health coach, you can find programs that are, several days long, that are a day long, free programs where you can get tons of recipes. I mean, it's something that is very accessible now. And it is never, I would say, easy to make a significant lifestyle change, but I wouldn't say that it's something that is so difficult that no one can do it, because people are doing it all the time. And we see people being successful at it. I think it really is about the attitude that you have going into it. That if you decide this is important to me, this is what I want to do, then you'll be able to make it work. You'll find a way to make it work.
You absolutely will. And it does so much help to have a support system and like thinking about who's going to raise you up. And I mean, I talk about accountability partners with my patients of like who can help you. Because I think one of the biggest barriers that patients come to me with is like, oh, my husband or my kids or whoever else isn't doing that. How could I do that? And I realize that I have a different frame of reference, I'm like, actually, it would be great if you could do that, because then you can positively influence, and they don't have to do anything different, right? Like, we can only change ourselves. But if we are able to start like making these changes, then that ripple effect, and then your husband or partner gets curious, or then your kids get curious, and they might resist, and that's okay. Let them, like the other people, resist, as long as you're just like being true to what you really want.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you don't mind, let's go back a little bit to where, because I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience in, once you were done with your training, what did you do in, just like what was your career like? What is it like now? But where did you start out, and kind of what has your life been like as a family doctor? And then how did you then get to where you wanted to do some work with us at Lifestyle Telemedicine?
Yeah. Okay. So where do I start? Well, thinking about residency program. So I was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and like truly loved the training I received there. It was like very diverse. And I realized that there I was already trying to incorporate lifestyle. Like I was really interested in group therapy, or group visits, and especially around food. So at that point, we were bringing in like food as medicine curriculum, and working with patients on like with diabetes, and like what to eat with diabetes. Now I wish, like looking back, I was like, oh, that was pretty good. But I'm like, now knowing what I know now, I'm like, I could have made that even better. But always had this idea that I wanted to like help people think around food. And I love addressing food because food brings out so much, right? Like we all have to eat. Like you can't get around that. Like we have to eat. And then there's lots of emotions that kind of come up with food. And there's culture that comes up with food, and there's shame that comes up with food, and how we can think about actually having like maybe shifting from a more negative to a positive experience with food. Um, and then let's see. Yeah, and then in my current job, so I've been working at a county system for the past 9 years, also doing some food as medicine. I love the idea around group visits, because group visits allow us to provide a lot of education at once rather than just the one-on-one. And then it also brings in the social aspect. Right, like sometimes it's way different for patients to hear it not just from me, but to also hear it from someone who also is like struggling with the same thing. And I think sometimes it just clicks different. Like, for instance, I remember a conversation with a patient who was didn't have any teeth, and we were talking about like adding in more like nuts and seeds, and he's like, how am I going to add in nuts and seeds? Like I can't chew them. And then another patient was like, oh, I just blend them. I put them in the blender, and then I get all my nuts, and he was like, oh, great. And that was the story. He was like, a barrier check. And so I think it really leads to this like creative solution problem solving. Uh, and then, yeah, and then I got certified in lifestyle medicine, I think in 2022, which was a great timing for me. We had just gone through COVID. And I was feeling like definitely the burnout of, being a physician on the front lines, uh, not taking a lot of time off. I was pregnant, and I had my baby in 2021, and realized that finally, what, like you were going, 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 and then you finally have a chance to relax, and you're like looking back and reflecting, you're like, how did I get through that?
Yeah.
Uh, and while I was on maternity leave, I think I started studying for the lifestyle medicine boards, and was like coming up on the stress management section, and realizing that I was like, oh, this is my kryptonite. Like this is where I need to focus, because I've like always eaten like pretty well. Like I didn't grow up eating plant-based by any means. Like I'm from Minnesota. We ate like, your meat, potato, and your vegetable. so that was like a slow transition, but like during my maternity leave was definitely when I realized that stress was the pillar that I needed to focus on, and especially when going back to work after that maternity leave and having two kids at home. And, there's lots to do when you have two kids at home and you're working full time as a physician. There's a lot of stressors, and you're like, oh, how can I manage these stressors? Because they're not going to go away. The kids are not going away. I still want my job. I really like caring for patients. And so how can I like manage these stressors? And like, thank goodness I was like going through that lifestyle medicine journey at that time to start addressing that. Yeah, that was a very windy answer to your
No, it
question.
was great. And I mean, do you mind sharing with us a little bit about kind of some of the steps that you took yourself to kind of improve that stress that you
Yeah,
were going under?
so many things. When I reflect back, so some of it I realized that I was feeling it more intensely because the things that I used for stress management, I had to kind of put those on hold. I think when we get busy, it's very easy to let some of those stress management techniques drop off. So I was pregnant, so I wasn't working out quite as much as I normally did. And I used to always very much rely on um, exercise to release that stress. I really like the book Burnout by Amelia Nagoski, or Emily Nagoski and Amelia. And they really talk about the stress cycle and the fact that like we're all going to experience stress and when we're at the height of it, but what can we do to like burn off that stress and actually bring us back down to calm? And running or physical activity was very much my like way to like burn that off and kind of bring me back into like my homeostasis and like everything's okay. And I wasn't doing that as much. So actually a colleague of mine was like, hey, I'm going to do a triathlon. Will you do one with me? And I was like, well, I've never done a triathlon. Sure. Why not? Let's add more things to an already full plate. But it was great because then it was like time that I was like, well, I need to learn how to swim. So I would like put in time in my calendar to like get into the pool. And actually, like swimming is very methodical. There's not a lot you can do while you're and so you kind of really connect with your breath and your mind during that time. And then also seeking out other modalities. So I'm very interested in like the mind-body connection, yoga, mindfulness, um, and I, yeah, I encourage a lot of my patients to like start utilizing those modalities. And depending on their experience, like where we can start, like sometimes we might just be starting with breathing, and that's enough. And sometimes we can, go further in. If anyone needs a program, like the mindfulness-based stress reduction course that was put on by John Kabat-Zinn is a really good introductory course to like that mind-body connection. So yeah, so doing some of that. And then honestly, it was getting back to my values, and realizing that a lot of my values come around social connection and like connection with my family and like actually scheduling time to do those things and like allowing myself to just be completely there with them and not be tethered to my phone. Um, and thankfully, kids really express a lot of joy. Uh, they express all the emotions, but they also are very good at expressing joy and allowing yourself to be like, I would just allow myself to be completely immersed in their joy and like feel that. So I think that really helped. And then one of my other like values is curiosity. I'm a very curious person. I love reading. And so I just like allowed myself to read. It felt very uncomfortable at first. Like I was like, I should be doing something, like I should be productive. And then you're like,
Yeah.
no, I actually can just sit here and read, and that's okay.
I love that. I love just hearing your own personal story about how you navigated one of the pillars of lifestyle medicine, which is stress management, And I think that is something that we hear a lot about from our patients. Of course, we always talk about diet and plant-based eating. I mean, that's like a
Yes.
big one, right? That's the big pillar. But a lot of us deal with stress. And I know that for me, I'm like you. I've always got a million things on my plate. And it would be very easy to just say, I don't have time for these other activities that actually do help improve my overall well-being. But I have to make the time because, uh, you know, like you said, sometimes I'll have something that I need to get done, but I have a free afternoon and I end up going and, playing pickleball. That's my thing lately, is playing pickleball. And I sometimes I have this kind of wrestling in my mind of, well, but I could spend those 2 hours working on this thing that I need to get done. But I usually choose pickleball because what I find is that the stress of having those things on your plate, like, doesn't help you to get things done quicker or better. In fact, I think it's the opposite. It almost makes you want to procrastinate more because you're so overwhelmed that you just kind of just want to lay there and do nothing. So I find that if I just listen to that voice and say, yep, I'm going to go out and enjoy these couple of hours, then I come back feeling refreshed, and then it feels more doable to get those things off the list and work on those things. And I just feel better overall. It just helps me to kind of get through my day, get through my week of having not just pickleball, but lots of other things, all the social connection and making sure that I'm getting together with friends and I'm doing things with other people and getting outside of the house. Working from home a lot. I'm home alone a lot, so I do have to make sure that I'm getting out and meeting up with people.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I had to finally see the connection between like I was actually more productive when I allowed myself to like, you know, do those things like go out for the bike ride or go for the run or read for a little bit. Like time seemed to expand. I think before when I was like feeling that chronic stress all the time, time was like kind of closing in, and I would use that term like, oh, I don't have time. And I had to like make the mindset shift of like, oh no, I prioritize this for my health, or this is my priority. I make time for what's my priority, and I say like I spend time rather than waste time now.
Oh, I like
Um,
that.
yeah, like I'm spending time cooking my meal because I value having or like meal prep, right? Like not everyone loves meal prep, but I'm going to spend the time meal prepping because I'm thanking my, I can then thank my past self
Yeah.
for like having made these like meals that are like easy to grab during the week. Yeah, I've totally gotten rid of I waste time. I'm like, I'm choosing to spend my time certain ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really important. So I would love to hear a little bit about, so when, I don't think the people watching might not know when you joined us at Lifestyle Telemedicine, and kind of tell us a little bit about where you're licensed and how you're seeing patients right now.
Yeah. So I'm licensed in California. Um, maybe one day I'll be like Dr. Nikki Davis and have more licenses. But right now I'm choosing to believe that California is a very big state, and there are lots of people here that hopefully can benefit from our services. And currently I do still accept Medicare, my other job. And so I cannot see Medicare patients, which I also know that that can be limiting at the moment. But if you are in California and you do not have Medicare, I would be happy to see you and see how we can help. And I love being part of this group. I know that like when we do things together, we can go further. And like I have already learned so much from the other docs that are here. And I think we share a lot of the same philosophy in how we care for patients. And a lot of that is like really getting to know you and getting to know like how you tick, and asking you about like what are your health goals and like what are your current health, circumstances, and how can we merge those. And so what I think we're really good at is looking at the data. Like data helps us. it is a little bit about what we make the data mean, and then what kind of plan can we help put in place for you to reach those health goals. Something I've learned with working with patients for over a decade now is I used to give people really big plans, and then I was like, oh yeah, I have to actually like break things down even smaller. And so I want patients to know that like everything that we like bring up and ask people to do, like we're trying to do it ourselves too. So we will never ask you to do something that is above and beyond and unrealistic, we'll say unrealistic. So really wanting to work with patients where they're at and get them to where they want to be.
I love that. Love it. All right. So I'm going to open it up now, if you don't mind, to, if anybody has any questions that they want to ask, whether it's about you and your background or even just some general questions about lifestyle medicine. Of course, we can't answer medical questions, but we can give you a general idea of, just education based on a topic. So let's see. There we go. Questions, type them in the comments wherever you're watching from. One thing that I did want to just bring up is that, you and I talked a little bit before we went live, and we were just talking about how, I was working on getting into some strength training and resistance training kinds of things today. And you said right away, I loved it because you said, hey, I'll be your accountability buddy.
Yeah. I know, because I'm looking for one right now. Well, actually, probably something important for people to know about my other background is one of the ways that I helped pay to get through college was I was a group fitness instructor, and then I was a personal trainer. I love group fitness. I was a step aerobics instructor. I was a spinning instructor.
Wait, when did you do step aerobics?
I did surf
how
aerobics.
long ago was this?
I know. I did step aerobics. Well, I used to attend step aerobics, like starting at the age of like 14. It was like me and all the older ladies, but I loved it. It was
Me too. I was so into it at that age. Yes, I still remember my step, where it has like the little inserts, you can make it taller or shorter.
Yes.
And,
I always did too.
It.
Yeah.
I was it too.
But I was like a teacher for this class called Dance Attack, and the Dance Attack class had like the high intensity and the low intensity, and the low intensity was usually the one who was like calling things out. So they always stuck me in the high intensity because I, could definitely bring that energy. But yeah, then I went into spinning because spinning became cool and very popular. But then when I was in college, my boss was like, we need more female personal trainers. Because at the gym that I was at, they had lots of like big guys, and he's like, not all the women coming in want to work with these big guys. Like, can you please get your personal training certification? So I had done that, and actually I loved it. Like, it was so fun. I was like, I'm getting paid to like help people work out. Like, this is the best feeling in the world. And sometimes getting to pay to like work out with them too. So I did that for a while. And actually during medical school, I still taught spinning classes.
Wow.
Actually, a very proud story I have is that when I got to the gym at my medical school, they did not have any morning classes. I like to work out in the morning. Yeah. And I went to my boss and I was like, can you please put like a 6:30? And he's like, no one's going to come to a 6:30 like spinning class. And I was like, just try it. Like, just put it on the schedule. You can take it down in 2 months if it doesn't work. And we were filling it up. It was so fun.
Of course, yes. I think a lot of people like to go first thing in the morning.
Yeah. You start your day out on a good foot, right?
Well, I love that you used to do that. I think that that's just, this is part of the reason why I love interviewing the doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine is that everybody has their own unique background, and to have been a personal trainer and to have all of these things that you've done as far as fitness goes, it gives you a unique perspective on how to help people with another of the lifestyle medicine pillars, which is movement or physical activity. So I feel like you really have a different lens into that. I think that's fantastic. So people who are looking to not only improve their diet, but also improve stress management, improve their movement, their physical activity, I feel like you'd be a really good fit for them as long as they're in California,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. One thing I do want to say about movement, because this comes up all the time when I'm talking to patients, is everyone always associates gym. Like, I mean, I love the
Mm.
gym too, but like everyone associates gym with fitness, and I just want to like help break that apart a little bit. That you don't need a gym membership to move your body. Like our bodies are meant to move. And so like, right, you were just telling us earlier that you got some whatever tools to weights and things
Oh,
to use at home, right?
yeah. Yep. I've just got like the bands, the stretchy bands, and then a couple of 5 pound weights,
Yeah.
And if even if you don't have actual weights, I've heard of people just using like cans of beans, and I always have cans of beans in my pantry. So yeah, you can absolutely find ways of getting movement, physical activity without having to go to the gym. I do push-ups. I'll do them on the
That's what I was
floor
gonna
or
bring
up
up.
against the countertop in the kitchen, so yeah, there's all sorts of ways to make it work.
Yeah, and don't discount the movement that is not like exercise. Right? Like the movement when we're like walking our kids to school or gardening, anything that we're not just like sitting, all of that counts.
Does pickleball count?
Absolutely. Yes.
I'm just kidding. I know. I get really sweaty when I play pickleball. It's amazing how much exercise I get.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but
social
I
connection.
also, yeah, exactly, social connection as well. But I have to agree with you that I personally am not one of those that loves the gym. I feel like if I had to wake up early in the morning every day and go to the gym at 6 a.m., I would not be a happy person. I like my slow mornings, but I love getting physical activity. I love walking my dogs. I love walking around the neighborhood, and I love playing pickleball, and I love snowboarding. There's things that I love to do that are movement that don't have to be jumping on a treadmill or jumping on a bike and doing that at the gym. So it's definitely, you got to find what you love to do and what works for you.
Yeah, I mean that's like one of the first questions like I ask people when we're like trying to start making movement goals is like one, what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
What are you willing to? And then yeah, what things do you love to do and bring joy? And can we add more of those? Because the amount of people that tell me like, oh, I'm gonna do 30 minutes on the treadmill, and you can just see the dread in their
Yeah.
face, and you're like, oh, that's not gonna last.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's get something that you love.
Absolutely. All right. One of the questions that we have is just about if you have any cases that you want to share of kind of some success stories. Do you have anything either recent with your work with lifestyle telemedicine, or because you've been interested in this kind of lifestyle medicine type of care for a really long time, you might have some stories from even before you were working with us.
Yeah. I mean, every week I get stories, which is a very
That's
fantastic thing.
great.
Um, let's think of a particular one. Well, so this woman that I had seen recently, I mean, I've been her physician for a long time. She is probably in her 30s and has been dealing a lot with unwanted weight gain and fibromyalgia. We've been watching her metabolic markers, and she actually has her metabolic markers have always been fine, but she had been dealing a lot with like the pain from and flares that she would get with her fibromyalgia. And I saw her back this past week, and she was yeah. Well, first of all, she's lost a lot of weight, which I do think has certainly helped. You can all of these things should not be weight related, and I feel like sometimes we put too much focus on that, but she was very happy about that aspect. But then the other aspects that she was like really happy about was she had made the goal to start adding just 15 minutes of walking a day, and she when I saw her. And that goal she had made like 3 months ago. When I'd seen her, she was up to 45 minutes this week. And she's like, I noticed that like my pain is so much less. And she has a teenage son. And she's like, I've like, being able to like, you know, go on walks with him and we spend time together. And so I think that's just like, she's like a good example of when I started to see her, she was in so much pain. Like she did, like the idea of movement um, was like not in the cards. Like she was like, no, like going to the mailbox like really hurts. And so that's why we had to start with like really small things of like, can we do like a 5-minute walk? And she also liked YouTube videos, like she likes dancing. So that was like the other thing that we brought in to this idea. She's like, okay, I'll put on like the Zumba YouTube video and do that. And the other tactic we used with her was sometimes she didn't want to do it, right? And so one of the things that I work with patients or talk to patients to do is like I use like the 5 to 10 minute rule. Like, can you just do this for 5 to 10 minutes? And if if you want to stop after 5 to 10 minutes, you can like completely give yourself permission to stop. Uh, but a lot of times people will keep going and they'll be like, oh no, I actually want to do the 20 minutes of walking or Zumba videos on YouTube. Um, yeah, so she just came to my mind.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I
Yeah.
think, I love that idea of just 5 minutes because I do feel like anything feels achievable if it's a short enough amount of time. And it really is just about just doing it, right? Because if you have this idea, okay, I really need to start doing a 30-minute walk every day, like I just need to do that, it's going to be really easy to just talk yourself out of it. I don't have enough time. I don't have 30 minutes. That's too much. But if you say, oh, okay, yeah, I do have 5 minutes, I could go do this, that just initiation and that decision to actually get out and do it will help you to actually end up probably doing even more than that. But it just feels so much easier to do when it's only a 5 minute. And it actually works as well with thinking about like, if you're eating a standard American diet and you're wanting to switch over to more of a plant-based diet, that feels like a big change, and it is. It's a significant change. But what I've done with people is say, all right, let's just try it for 2 weeks. Like, you can do this for 2 weeks. I will give you everything you need, lots of recipes, everything, grocery lists. Just do it for 2 weeks. And if you're not liking it after 2 weeks, you get to just say, never mind, I don't want to do this anymore. And it turns out that most people feel so good, and it is actually not as difficult as I thought it would be, that they end up doing it longer. But it's that commitment to that shorter amount of time that I think really helps people to make those first changes in making a habit.
Yeah, and I think for the listeners to know that those changes actually matter and move the needle. Like that's what blew me away when we started like reading the studies. It's like the people who go from complete sedentary and then it just, they're walking 2,000 steps a day and then we can get them to like 5,000 to 8,000 steps. Like they see a dramatic improvement in metabolic health and I like yeah, I just think that that's like a wonderful thing to think because I think sometimes our brain goes like, if I can't do amazing things, why do it at all? And actually, um, we're seeing the opposite. We're like seeing that these tiny micro habits and like movement and stuff move the needle.
Absolutely. And I mean, even when we're talking about things like helping with diabetes management, blood sugar control, that even getting out and doing a quick 5 minutes, or even honestly, it doesn't even have to be 5 minutes. I've told people, after you eat, if you're trying to manage your blood sugar, even just running up and down the stairs a couple of times or going on a quick 5 minute walk, if you can't do anything more than that, that still can help. All right. It looks like Dr. Schimek has disappeared. I'm not sure why, but that's okay. Um, if any one of you have a question that you want to ask us while we're on here, feel free to type it into the chat. I'm not seeing any more at this point. So I think that I will probably wrap things up and, we'll see if Dr. Schimek comes back, but if not, that's okay. I feel like we got to meet her and get to know her story really well here. All right. So If you are watching and you have not had a chance to work with one of our doctors yet, we would love to work with you. We do have several doctors who cover all 50 states, DC, and international. So you just go to our website, which is lifestyletelemedicine.com. And when you go there, it'll ask you what state you're in. It'll ask you if you have Medicare or not. And then it'll pop up which doctors you can then meet with. And then you can go through, we've got our bios on there, so you can read more about each of us and then really make your decision on who you'd like to meet with. And if you're really not wanting to get online, you can always just call us. You can call our main number and talk to Susan. Susan, if you've talked to her before, she's incredible and she would love to help you. Just figuring out, okay, how do I sign up for the portal? How do I make an appointment? What would be the best appointment? Because we have not only the one-on-one appointments, but we also do have assessments. So wellness assessments where you get a couple of appointments with the doctor. So it's an hour appointment and a 30-minute appointment plus labs so that you can review those labs at your second appointment. And you can look at your heart health. You can just look at your overall health, metabolic health. And so the doctors that I work with, we've all kind of curated these bundles of labs that you can get. And I have patients who love this enough that they will go and do these assessments once a year so that they can just get a really good look at their health, look at these labs, and then be able to have a couple of appointments with their doctor. So if you're interested in that, you can go either talk to Susan or you can visit us at lifestyletelemedicine.com. Thank you again to Dr. Schimek, who was with us today. Learned a lot about her, and she is an incredible addition to our group here at Lifestyle Telemedicine. We are so happy that she has joined us as one of our doctors here. And feel free to check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the socials, so please come and subscribe, become one of our followers, and we'd love to see you around. So until next time, I'm Dr. Nikki Davis. Thanks again for watching.